Aloha, everyone. My name is Jen Davis, and I am a member of Women of Hawaii. Women of Hawaii is a multi-member LLC certified as a small woman-owned business. We facilitate a motivational workshop series where we focus on how to teach people to start, manage, and grow a successful business, along with one-on-one consulting to that same fact. We are here today with all of the members. I have Tahisha Taylor.
Aloha.
I have Monique DePons.
Aloha.
And I have Nicole Soong.
Aloha.
So today we are all here. We have the pleasure of interviewing mayoral candidate for the Big Island of Hawaii, Stacy Higa. Hi, Stacy.
Aloha, everybody. Thanks for having me, Jen, Monique, Nicole, Tisha. Nice to meet all of you.
Thanks for being here. Thank you for taking the time with us. The point of this interview is really to give you a platform to speak more about your campaign to become mayor of our awesome county here in Hawaii. So we've put together from a small business standpoint some questions as voters. We'd like to get your take on a few things. And so we'll go ahead and jump right in. And the first question will be from Monique.
Aloha, thanks again, Stacy. So as the mayor of Hawaii County, what is the biggest idea that you'd like to implement?
Biggest idea for, so I'm going to ask for a little clarification. You want a public idea, or is it more of a, because there's so many things, right? You kind of pinpoint me in the direction that you want to go, because there's so many ideas I have. Give me a direction that you want. I'm going to tell you my biggest idea in that realm.
Okay, coming from a small business owner standpoint, maybe the biggest idea that you have in regards to economic recovery.
Awesome. Probably the biggest idea I have right now is two things. I'll say that I want to kickstart the construction industry to make sure that we can do a lot of public-private partnerships with infrastructure. We have needs all across the island. So what I want to do is to keep people employed. I want to go and kickstart the construction industry on the private side. So home builders, architects, plumbers, they can keep all that going. I want to fast track permits so that our workforce can stay employed. That's a very important thing, because as you know, on the county side, we end up slow rolling a lot of the permits. So I want to actually fast track permits so that construction can be moving. At the same time, I want to work with the larger construction companies to work on a type of a RFP process where I ask them to take the motivation of profit out of the equation for the time being. What I need them to do is to realize that we have to survive. So I want to go use a model that's been done on the mainland, where we actually have an estimate of what a public infrastructure project should cost in the way of material, labor, so forth. Then I want to put that out. And then what happens is if we put that number out there and nobody comes in at that lower number, or that number that they're bidding it a little high, it allows the mayor and the administration to do what they call a sole source contract. And what that does is it allows us to actually spend our money wisely, because a job comes in at 3 million, but the estimate says it should be like about 1.8. It allows a leeway of a plus or minus like 10%. So as long as I don't get above that threshold, what I can do, it allows me to sole source it. Then I can start working with the various contractors out there to actually identify and move these things along. By doing that, I can have a migration of some of the unemployed hotel workers, for example. I can move them over. At the same time, by stimulating the economy like this, I now am able to actually help the small businesses around the county, with distribution, spending money in the area. So what happens is a trickle-down effect of having the economic engine going, and then it'll filter into the other small business areas and large businesses as well. But that's sort of like my big project on the business side. And at the same time, I know that's only going to migrate probably like maybe 30% of the hotel workers. So what I'm looking at is agriculture with county-sponsored co-ops. And what that does is we all know that ranchers and farmers around our island are excellent. They do a fabulous job in farming and ranching. But they may, as you guys know, because you guys are the women of business, right? You guys understand that sometimes the ranchers and farmers are not very well versed in how to market, how to distribute, and a lot of ancillary things. So by having a county-sponsored co-op, help them to do some of the things that they're very uncomfortable or not very good at, we can actually help them generate more of a type of a market so that they can grow their products at a larger rate. And then what that does is I'm hoping to migrate some of the workers again that I didn't absorb in the construction from the hotel industry into agricultural. Because we all know we need expediters, we need, there's a lot of different things that we can do. So that's sort of like my big ideas on how to spur the economy. And I think that's two of the most important things, because post-COVID-19 or during the COVID-19 recovery, it's all about keeping our economy going. I always tell people this, when we have an earthquake or we have like a hurricane that's coming now with possibly with Hurricane Douglas, it's localized. If we get impacted, we can always count on people from the mainland to come in, send some help, Red Cross, FEMA. But COVID-19 is affecting it's around the entire world. We're all in the same boat. So we're not going to be counting on help from too many other places. We have to be resilient. We have to figure out how to sustain ourselves. And that's why county government is so very important. With my leadership, I'll actually put us in a place that we can actually become more sustainable. So that's kind of like my two big things there on the economy and in the area that you kind of asked me to be. There's a lot more if you want to go into other areas.
Okay, thank you. Yes, actually, I really do want to go into some other areas. So talking about the ideas that you have from a small business owner, from your perspective, how do you see you being able to pull off the helping the small business owners in this economy that we have with COVID-19 and everything that's going on? With the ideas that you have, how do you plan on trying to make that work?
Thanks, Tisha. That's a very good question. So there's multiple things that'll happen. And what's going to happen is this, every small business person out there will have to start thinking about how they're going to have to reimagine their own businesses. And what I think the county needs to do, we need to help all of you navigate some of the things that's going to happen, because we all know, when we start putting rules and regulations in, for example, like, social distancing. So all of a sudden your capacities, if you're a restaurant, to go from a restaurant plan that, you can have X amount of tables, and then you're going to be able to spin it 2 or 3 times at a certain rate. You can count on how much per seat that you can earn. And all of a sudden the government puts a regulation in there, the business model may not work. So what you need is you're going to be able to have some guidance in trying to figure out how to help you reimagine your business. And then at the same time, so you're going to need some marketing, some possible loan structuring type things where we can help you with financial planning or financial resources that may or should be available through various avenues. As we know, we have CARES, we have small business development. There's a whole bunch of different avenues out there. I'll tell you this, the SBA, when they all said, oh, PPP is coming, and, once they said SBA, I think everybody cringed and said, oh my, here we go. It's going to take an arm and a leg. They're going to want my 10th grandchild to go through the process to get a loan. And then when they gave you that one sheet, fast track, I was like, all right, this is something that people can get on board with. So I come in and say that was the template of how we had to reimagine and rethink government, because we all know how difficult the SBA is to work with, as I'm a small business owner as well in my past. So that right there is a starter. And at the same time, like I said, the county resource, R&D helping you. What we also have to do is I want to be able to go back and negotiate, for example, relief on property taxes. I think I want to do some property tax relief right off the bat, with the understanding caveat that I'll reduce commercial, industrial taxes to a certain degree, but it has to filter back down to the lessees or the people that. So I'm not going to just give a freebie to landlords. I'm going to have to figure out a mechanism where, all right, the county will take a less share. You got to take a less. You don't have to pay us, but you have to pass it on to some of your other lessees. And if you're the owner and a business owner, that can go directly to your bottom line. So that's just, again, quick samples of what kind of thinking I'm talking about. The other thing I think is all about trying to help, like I said, my co-op. When you have these types of resources where the county has to have that discussion to be able to work with everybody to say, hey, you know what? We got to start working together, start sharing resources. Maybe we can start doing group consulting, group accounting type best practices. I think there's a lot of things that the county can do with the help of the small business owners who want to band together. And that's the kind of leadership that I would want to bring into the mayor's office if I am elected. Research and development is a huge department that is, in my opinion, totally underutilized. They go for some of the craziest but I'll say this, that's because you have bureaucrats running that. You need a small business person to understand what small businesses really need so you can use county resources and direct it in the right direction. That's the kind of thing that I want to do as mayor to help small businesses right off the bat.
Thank you, Stacy. Appreciate all of the detail. That's wonderful. Okay, so you have several different departments and 9 districts, right, to plan with. How do you see that all coming together?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Nicole. We know things are going to be tight. So that's why, being a former council member, a chair of the council, I understand what each council member goes through because I've been in that seat. And at the same time, I understand as chair of the council, I knew how difficult it was to work with the mayor. And the mayor only really needs the council. This sounds kind of crass, but I'm unfiltered. I'm going to tell you, the mayor really needs the council only to make laws and only during the budget time. That's the only time the council has a hammer that they can nail the mayor with. It's on the budget. Once the budget is approved, the mayor is off and running, and he or she has all the ability to spend the money as they see fit within the administration, as long as it conforms with the budget outline. So, understanding all of that, I would work with every council member because I know how it works. Who better than the people that represent the district? I'd go to them and say, look, it's tight resources. You got to give me, I'm going to give you a chance, for example. I'll use Holeka maybe, or Aaron Chung in Hilo. I said, Chairman Chung, you need to tell me 1 or 2 nice to haves, and you need to tell me 1 or 2 need to haves. And then I'm going to start looking at and prioritizing things based upon the need to haves have to have priority. The nice to haves, I will incorporate them if can. If no can, they're going to have to wait. But I guarantee you, I'm going to look at and try to figure out within my CIP and with my overall budget, I'm going to come to every council member and I'm going to say, tell me what you need to have. And then I'm going to work backwards and figure out how we're going to do it. If somebody comes out there with a huge number, no number scares me, okay? Because I know at the end of the day, if I don't do something, the unintended consequences of neglecting that or missing that will cost me 10, 20 times more down the road. So depending on what the council person tells me, I'm going to analyze it with my team, but I'm going to work with each council member to make sure that I address what's important to them. After all, they're elected from that district. So I want to be able to have that conversation and have a great working relationship with them. That's something that you asked. It hasn't happened in a long time because you don't have a mayor that has council experience for like 30, 40 years. I would be the first mayor that actually has council experience, probably back to Lorraine Inouye or maybe Steve Yamashiro's time, which is quite a number of years ago. So that's what I bring to the table immediately to try to work with the districts. And then last thing, Nicole, I'm also going to be empowering and bringing back my version of what I consider neighborhood boards. I'm going to have an executive assistant who will be tasked with handling. I'm going to look for what we call kupuna councils in every district. I am going into every district to find the elders who we should revere and listen to. And I'm going to engage them so that they can help share with me about what their communities are lacking, what the community needs, and what kind of a culture-based as well as a community-based needs that they can filter to my office so that I can incorporate that with their council person, with my administration. And that's my shortcut because I'm a can-do business guy. I don't want to have to wait to make a charter amendment to have neighborhood boards appointed or elected. I'm just going to go out there, find the most revered kupuna and be, not just 1, 2, I'm talking 5 to 8 to 9. They're out there, engage them, and then empower them to give me the intel that I'm going to need so that I can make sure I'm directing resources to the communities as the communities would like to see happen.
Well, you started answering my question, Stacy. Thank you very much. So part of what I was interested in, and really thank you for the detail and getting into the specifics. I was going to ask, how do you plan on scaling this grand idea of yours? And you answered that by talking about how you would meet with the council members and move into the communities. So that's definitely the way that I see it scaled. And the other part of that question is, how do you make that run efficiently when you start involving so many different people in the process? How do you, as mayor, make sure that that process runs efficiently?
Thank you, Jen. Best way I would say this is, I hate to say it, I'm a closet micromanager, but in a good way. When I say that, nothing gets past me. At Naleo TV, I delegate a lot, but the idea is my entire staff understands my vision and mission of what I want and how I want to accomplish and do certain things. So I'm very clear and succinct in when I explain to my entire team what I want and how the process works. The devil's in the detail. So you need to surround yourself with good people who will be able to implement the mission and vision which I'm going to present. So when I say that, once I start this process, there'll be layers. And I'm going to make sure that I put people in place that actually understand what Stacy Higa's vision is for the county, not XYZ. They're going to have to make it work because they work for me, they work for the people. So that's why it's sort of like I joke around, but I'm serious. I'll have the pulse on everything the same way that I do it in Naleo. Nothing gets by me. I mean, I don't have to spend an inordinate amount of time on something because unless it's a problem, because the people I've empowered to put in place pretty much puts it in the right, there might be a 5 or 10% adjustment, but it'll be a small tweak, not a major tweak. Or if it's a major tweak, we catch it in advance so that we don't waste time and then we have to backtrack and start all over. Everything will be moving in a way, and what will happen is it's all about communication. Because I was a council member, I understand what they go through, and it's all about, checking your ego at the door and understanding what the priorities and needs of the people are. And then you find out there's more things in common than there are in differences out there. So I want to accentuate and I want to really, really work hard on all the positives. And then next thing you know, you find out the negatives or the maninis, they'll be so manini and small, easy to handle. So that's why I think, putting the right people, making sure that I am on top of everything, nothing gets by me. And that's the type of person that I am. So that's kind of leadership that I bring to the table.
That's amazing, Stacy. Thanks. Like the ladies have been saying, you're indulging us with a lot of details. So thank you for that. So we've heard about your ideas, your strategies, and how you intend to operate. How are you getting this information out to your voters, and especially with just a few weeks left before the primary, how will you implement that?
Thanks, Monique. I'm one of the few candidates that have details. If you go to my website has tons of videos that go into maybe not as much detail as I could in person. It's very, very difficult when you're running an election. A lot of people can tell you all the problems. I can parrot all the problems in the world about what we should be doing, what we could be doing. I'm going to tell you, I'm one of the few candidates that actually have solutions. So it's opportunities like you folks have been giving me. And I told people this, there's probably 50,000 people that are going to vote or, thereabouts. I'm trying to talk to at least 28,000 along the way, which is kind of tough. But it's technology, like what's happening right now with the Zoom. And I'll tell you something, it's been resonating. Since the debates have happened and people have actually had videos and actual things that they can document and see where people stand. That's the momentum that has been carrying me for the last 2-3 weeks. I'm going to tell you, I feel it. It's organic. People are resonating to some of the messages that we're saying out there. So it's all about, grassroots campaign. As best as I can, I do have one of the best media teams. After all, I'm in the media business. And for all the people that's wondering if I'm using Naleo resources, absolutely not. I'm smart enough to know, where to draw the line. I will say this, though. I do use my resources of Naleo employees on their own time as volunteers within my campaign. And I'm not ashamed to say that, intellectual property of the employees belong to them. And some of them have actually better equipment than I do have at Naleo. So, you know, that's what's been setting me apart. And then being able to use technology like this, and at the same time, you know, I consider myself a pretty detailed guy. And you know, Monique, the second time you've heard me talk, I warn people I am unfiltered. Be careful what you're going to ask me, because I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. May not be what you like to hear, but you're going to get the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth from me. And at the same time, I feel that my passion and how I feel about the issues and my solutions, they're rooted in me. They're not something that I just think about, or I believe everything that I say I can do, I know I can do. And so that's just something that I'm hoping to resonate with people. And I think it has been, you know, and it's opportunities like this that I'm hoping you're following, the people you talk to, will just give me some aloha, give me a chance to kind of listen to what the questions you're asking and listen deep to my answers. I'm just not parroting some other things. There's a lot of guys who just tell you, oh yeah, economic development, yeah, we got to work hard, we got to fix this. Okay, we know we got to, how are you going to do it? You know, that's the question. And I think that's what set me apart from a lot of other candidates.
Okay, thank you for that. That's a very, very big plan. Coming from, in light of everything with COVID-19, traditional face-to-face campaigning is pretty much not happening. How do you plan on getting your message out and getting the word out? What other type of personal advertising have you been doing to get the message across to the voters?
You know, so one of the first important things Tiesha does that I said when I ran was, I actually figured out when I was before I decided to run, I was already noticing that the average newspaper, for example, the radio stations, they were all hurting because nobody was advertising, everything was shut down. So I have resources at Naleo. I actually bought I think I paid $10,000 buy in advance for Tribune Herald. And I did that because I had my advertising budget, but I front loaded it knowing that they needed the cash now. I did that with radio stations. So I know how to spread the wealth around to make sure that everybody, like my mom used to always say, right? Everybody's got to eat. Some people going to eat hamburger and some people going to eat steak, you know, but everybody's going to eat. So I started to do that by spreading the money around. So I use social media a lot. I'm on Facebook. And I got to admit, I'm not a techie, but I have some of the brightest, youngest millennials helping me. And thank goodness for that, because, you know, I'm their Instagram, their Snapchat, and I'm like a cellular phone, email, you know, Facebook. I had to learn how to friend people. You know, so I'm not a big social media person, but I embraced it because my millennial and my staff have taught me that that's very important to be able to reach a certain demographic. At the same time, I understand that we have a lot of elderly people that in our communities that don't. I guess, hey, I just kind of outed myself that I guess I'm an elderly guy. I'm a kupuna in waiting, I guess. So what's going to happen is we're going to have to get our information from the radio, get our information from the newspaper. So that's sort of like what we're doing. And I even did it. We're going to do a small ad buy on the television. You're going to see some 30-second spots coming up on cable television in the next couple of weeks up until the primary. So I am reaching out to different people. And then the best is I did some mailers, but the best is I wish I could go house to house. But what I'm doing is I'm using email now as another alternative to kind of send our messages out. So it's taught me a lot. It's also taught me that we need to look at our entire county government and then start embracing technology, that we don't have to do things face to face. You know, somebody can do a $30 million deal on a DocuSign, but you can't go get a license without being in person. That's kind of scary, isn't it? I mean, a $30 million deal and you can't get a $60 license without being in person. So I think we got to start changing and embracing technology and bringing some common sense and good intuition back to county government.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about the technological standpoint of how you're reaching your voters, and you're giving us a lot of details. So I want to see, Stacy, do you have a thought on what you are also doing differently to connect with the voters?
For me, yeah, I'll say this. believe it or not, I'm a very private person. I don't consider myself, you know, I can be the life of the party, but people always look at me as like, oh, he's a real serious dude, or he looks like a grumpy guy, you know. Um, so I've been trying to, I hate to say soften my image, but I'm trying to show people the other side of me, and that has been a work in progress because I take things so very seriously. I mean, all I can tell you is when people look at me, they always tell me, man, your wheels are turning. I can see you always thinking. That's just how I am. But I can let my hair down. I can have a few beers and you know tell some jokes with the boys. So I've been trying very very hard to show people that other side of me that I can be deathly serious. I know what needs to be done. I do care, but I can also be one of the brothers and just one of the local guys. And that's I have to admit that's something a little bit more difficult for me because I try not to be I don't do things to be popular. I just do things. I like, you know, somebody told me today, do people know how much money you actually put back into the economy in the form of helping nonprofits or other groups raise money? Because I use my personal plus my Naleo position to support a tremendous amount of nonprofits in their endeavors, whether it's golf tournaments, fundraisers, whatever. But I don't do it to get accolades for myself. In fact, what a lot of times I've bought golf tournament seats or sponsored stuff, and I give them away to my employees. So I let them go to these events instead of me. Or I send my board, I send employees to go golf. Even though I love to golf, I've sent other people to go and do these things because I don't do those things to pump or blow my horn. I do those things because I want to help. And at the same time, I use those as rewards for other people. So that's a side of me that a lot of people don't see because I don't publicize that. You know, I kind of just outed myself here with all of you, but that's how I think that's one of the things that I'm really working on, Nicole, to show people that I do have a little softer side, that I'm I'm not a a-hole or somebody that the people don't want to, like a SOB or something. I'm really not. I actually consider myself a pretty kind of happy-go-lucky guy that people just think that I'm, I tell you what, they think because I'm a very confident person, they think that that's a form of arrogance. And I apologize to anybody out there that thinks I'm arrogant. I'm a confident guy, but I don't think I'm an arrogant person. If anybody thinks that I'm arrogant, I'm sorry. I don't ever mean to come across as being arrogant. So sorry, long answer on that, but that took a while for me to get out.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Oh, I love it. What COVID and an election will do for someone, huh? Thanks for that, Stacy. It's good to show well-rounded intent. I think everybody can appreciate that. So I'm going to take it back to the serious stuff. Let's pretend we just met. Let's pretend we are headed up to the 5th floor in the same building. We've all heard about an elevator pitch, and you have 30 to 60 seconds. We're headed up to the 5th floor. What is it you want me to know? What is it that your elevator pitch would tell a voter?
And so are you from Oahu or are you from my island?
Big Island, Kona.
Hey, great. Hey, Jen, I'm glad we're going up to see this governor. You know what? I'm going to take the home rule. This guy's not going to know what hit him. Because when I'm done with him, I'm going to make sure that Hawaii Island is #1. As far as I'm concerned, I don't care what happens anywhere around else the state. This guy's not going to know what hit him. Stacy Higa's coming to town. I'm going to bring home the bacon for the Big Island. Please help me with this.
That was fun. Thank you. I'd be right behind you.
That was an intense 60 seconds. So thanks for that, Stacy. To conclude what we were talking here tonight, can you explain to us and explain to everyone watching what your first 30 days will in office will look like?
My first 30 days in office is going to look like somebody else's 4-year term as far as I'm done. What's going to happen is I'm going to do so much that's unprecedented. For example, I'm going to go in real quick. I'm going to fast track all permits, as I said earlier. I'm going to get that thing moving, rolling. I don't care what any bureaucrat is going to tell me. If someone says, Stacy, you can't do that, they better come with John Roberts' signature that says, you know what? The Supreme Court says, Stacy, you can't do that. I'm going to continue to do it until somebody tells me to stop, because it's the right thing that we need to do to keep our economy going. At the same time, as I said earlier, the public-private partnerships, I'm going to be calling every single contracted to my office because we need sewer work done. We need water work done, water wells done. We need some buildings that are dilapidated and old. We need them to be fixed immediately. We need some ADA ramps. We need some accessible things done for our handicapped people. We need our roads to be paved. I'm tired of driving on washboards, you know. We need to think about connector roads so that I want to build another road into Waikoloa Village because, you know, that's the largest cul-de-sac in the road. And God forbid a fire ever cut that place off, what's going to happen? So I can go on and on and on, Monique. My 30 days are going to look like somebody's 4-year term, maybe even an 8-year term. I'm not going to mess around. You know what? We don't have time to mess around. We got to start solving problems. And I'm going to be the one that's actually going to make things happen because I'm a business guy. I know how to solve problems. And I see, when I look at things, I see nothing but problems. I see so much that needs to be done in our county government, and we refuse to take the lead. You know, I'm a home rule advocate. And I'm glad Jen said about the 5th floor, right? I'm tired of people in that square building trying to tell us how we're going to live on our island. You know, I want to make sure that as a mayor, I'm going to fight so hard to tell those guys, hey, stop making crazy laws that affect us. And when you guys do, I'm going to come back at you guys and tell you why you got to repeal those laws because you're affecting how we live on our island. That's the kind of decision making. That's the kind of bold leadership. So in 30 days, I mean, nobody will probably want to take my phone calls. I'll be making guys actually work a lot harder than they've been working the last few years.
Thank you so much for that, Stacy. Yeah, we can tell that you have some very big ideas, and we can hear your passion for that. Can you tell us or tell the voters how they can reach you? I know you said you have social media. What other social media pages aside from Facebook, or how can the voters get in touch with you and see more of your platform?
Thank you. StacyHigaForMayor.com. I have my own website. It's a very, very interactive website. And I'll tell you this, it's pretty interesting. Someone actually, one of my biggest supporters today, became my biggest supporter because he emailed my website, asked, you know, can you have Stacy Higa call me up? And I called him. He emailed it to me like 7 o'clock that night. I called him at 8 a.m. the next morning. And then he was in shock that he says, is this really Stacy Higa? I said, yeah, it is. Why? What? You want to talk to me? I went, well, normally most guys would just send, you know, somebody else, a surrogate, to call me, but you actually calling me? And then he had a conversation with me, and I thought he liked what I was saying. So I said, well, I hope I get you somebody. He tells me, oh, I'm not saying I'm going to support you. I think that, you know, I just said I wanted to talk to you. I said, oh, okay. Then he said, call me back the next day. So I called him back the next day. And then lo and behold, he's one of my staunchest supporters today. And his big claim he's telling people is, you know, I didn't know this guy from Adam 10 weeks ago. And now I believe in him, and he and I have actually become very good friends. So I'm just saying how things evolve. But Stacy Higa for Mayor, my website, it's a very interactive, so you can leave an email, and I will, believe it or not, I will call you back and get a hold of you. And then also on Facebook, Stacy Higa for Mayor on that. If you ask me all the other Snapchats that you got to go to my website, then I can have my millennials talk to you on that because I have no clue on the Instagram and all that other stuff. But my two that I know, or you can also email me, Stacy@HigaForMayor, and it's the number 4. Yes, so Higa with the number 4 mayor.com. That's my email. I answer it. You know, I'll tell you this. I think I'm one of the only candidates, or maybe not, but I'll take credit if I am. Every single contribution that comes to me, I send them a personal thank you note from me. I either email it. If it comes in the mail, I handwrite a personal one. That's something that I was brought and raised at an early age. You gotta aloha and thank people for taking the time out. So I do it even in my campaign. And I'll be happy to say that in the last 6 weeks, my arm and my fingers are getting tired because I've been sending a lot of thank you notes in the last 6 weeks. So I've been very, very fortunate to have that. But thanks, Kenisha, for that. Taisha, to be able to say that, about how to get to my website and so forth. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then also, is there any last words or anything that you would like to leave the voters with today?
Yeah, thank you. I just want to thank all of you for giving me the opportunity to take down my guard a little bit and kind of have some fun, answer some questions, to show you who I really am and the type of person, how I think and how I want to process things. But at the same time, to let you know that I am one of us. I'm a local boy, born and raised here on Hawaii Island, Kamehameha Schools graduate, married to my wife for 32 years, have a son, 25-year-old, working in Honolulu. I'd love to have him come back here. So I want to make sure that your children, your grandchildren all have a chance to make Hawaii Island their own home by choice. If they move away, that's because they choose to move away, not because they have to move away. And at the same time, I want to thank, it's so wonderful to see what I consider alpha females right here that I'm talking to. You guys are like the bomb. Whenever I see strong women that actually are empowering other women, that is so important in our community. I want to tell you this, in all my career, even at Naleo, I tell people, when you come and work for me, you may be coming in looking for a job, but when I hire you, you're going to get a career. And I want to tell you that some of the most best things that I've ever done was help some of the young women in our community have careers. And I take great pride in that I want to empower, I want to support, and I want to help develop not only our young women, but really our next generation of leaders to be able to live, work, and play in a community that they love, and be able to earn a decent wage and have a career, raise a family in a healthy environment. That's why I'm running for mayor. I'm running to be able to try to help make our communities a lot better. So I want to congratulate all of you as well for taking the initiative to form a very, very powerful women's group that will advocate for and on behalf of other strong women that need support and need help to become just as successful as all of you are. So I congratulate you folks as well.
Well, you're hitting a lot of buzzwords there, Stacy. I see a lot of faces lighting up here. Thank you so much for that. We definitely, I think I can speak for all of us, we have worked hard and we do all have families, and thank you for that. We very much appreciate that acknowledgement. And especially with us doing what we do, our passion is to get out there and help the underserved community. Small, women-owned, minority-owned, veteran-owned businesses. That is what we intend to do. So it sounds like we're talking to the right person. Your co-op, we slide right in there. So however we can help you, if when you are elected mayor, you give us a call, and that's right up our alley with what we're looking to do and help the entire community. So thank you so much for all of the detail that you got into today. We really appreciate your time. Just a little bit more about us. We are Women of Hawaii. Please go ahead and check us out on our website. We are womenofhawaii.org. If anybody has questions for us regarding our services, how we facilitate the one-on-one consulting and the motivational workshop series, teaching people how to start, manage, and grow their own successful business, you can email us at info@womenofhawaii.org. So one last time, Stacy Higa, thank you so much. We really enjoyed learning about your campaign, what your plans are for becoming mayor of our wonderful island here of Hawaii. And everybody go check out Stacy. You can find this interview on our website and social media as well. And that is going to do it for today. Thanks again, and aloha.